Welcome to Screw the Commute, the entrepreneurial podcast dedicated to getting you out of the car and into the money with your host, lifelong entrepreneur and multimillionaire, Tom Antion.
Hey everybody, it's Tom here with episode 636 of Screw the Commute podcast. I'm here with Ray Brehm. He's the summit guy, and basically this is part 2 of the behind the scenes technology for the Bestseller Secrets Summit, which we talked about with Derek Depker in the last episode. That was episode 635, and if you missed that, you definitely want to check that out. Anytime you want to get to a back episode, you go to screwthecommute.com/ and then the episode number. That was 635, and I'm telling you, you're probably going to want to share these because the things we're talking about today on this summit, the value, you're going to get $1 million worth of free training from the 25 experts that are on there, all highly credentialed folks. So check that out. And now you'll hear a little bit how the thing is actually run from Ray. All right, a little bit of update on our program to get scholarships for persons with disabilities. One of the people has already started a website, and he's blind. He's legally blind, to help other people with disabilities. And then the other person is totally blind, and she's helping her husband revamp his construction site. They're both in the school making great progress. And then we have a school teacher who just got out of school. So she's back in our school making great progress. So we're really excited about that. So you can check that out at screwthecommute.com/disability and then click on the GoFundMe account. You'll see the video updates that they've provided. And it's kind of embarrassing when two blind people shoot better videos than I do. I gotta tell you. So any little bit you help with the GoFundMe campaign is appreciated. Or if you're really flush with cash, you can sponsor a person yourself. And this is a pilot program where I'm proving the concept that I can get these people hired or in their own business or both, so they don't have to leave home. And then I'm going to roll it out to big corporations and foundations so I can help hundreds or thousands of people with disabilities. So that's what we're doing here. So help me out if you can. All right, let's see. Let's get to the main event here. Ray Brehm, a.k.a. the Summit Guy, is a USA Today and Wall Street Journal best-selling author and founder of Summit Lab and the six-figure author Summit program. Ray, are you ready to screw the commute?
I am. I'm ready to screw the commute, Tom, and I'm thankfully doing it.
Yeah. I've been doing it my whole life. I never actually had a job. I know we've just met, but I actually had a nightclub for 6 years. It was the second biggest one in the state, and I lived above it. So technically, I had a nightclub in my basement. So I really lived that life, and we're trying to get that for everybody else. But you've taken an interesting course in your career to concentrate. I know you do a lot of things, but we're specifically talking about summits. And for those of you out there, don't think you have to be some superstar already to start a summit. I think Ray is going to bust that myth for you, that you can do that and actually make a quicker rise in your career using summits. So Ray, take it away. Tell us a little bit about how you got into the summit business.
Well, I've been an entrepreneur probably as long as I can remember, kind of one of those stories. But for me, I had a business, a brick and mortar business, not a nightclub, and that was a true work from home situation you had there. I had a real estate property management business, but I was starting to moonlight on the side as a book launch guy. And back middle of 2018, I sold that business, put a bunch of cash in the bank, said, well, now let's go. And proceeded to blow all the proceeds from the sale of that business over about a 1.5 year period on Facebook ads and high end coaches and things. And, I did learn a lot, so that's great. But I hit a wall literally February 2020. And in fact, the first week of March 2020, I had this lunch that I'll never forget, March 3rd. And it was just, I drove home numb. I got booted out of an entrepreneur group I was in because I no longer owned that brick and mortar business. It was another reason, but it gave me this high impact realization that I was out of cash. I needed to figure out how to pay March's mortgage. We had some assets and things, but it was just, it was so stressful that mostly because my dream of being the screw the commute guy was suddenly like drifting away. And I thought I'm not making enough money to survive. I just ran out of cash in February. what am I going to do? I actually started looking at the want ads for the first time in about 20 years.
Oh, don't
And
say
that was,
the dirty word on this thing that is spelled J-O, you know what?
yeah, you can bleep that out if I do by accident. I mean, it was, I mean, it was like nauseating, even the thought. I'd go out and look and I would just feel like I was going to throw up as I was looking, like maybe I should get. Fortunately for me, one of my last acts with some of my last cash a month earlier was to get a program on virtual summits. And now when I came to this realization in this really down part of my career, this is the low point. I said, I've already done half these interviews. If I bag this summit now and just go get a job, I mean, that's, I've ruined my entire career, because I've got other interviews lined up. I've done into the interviews. My name's at risk here. Let's push forward. So we just kind of, and, in that sense, the pandemic, like I moved everything home. I had an office I was paying for. I moved everything home. We battened down the hatches, and things started working out. But by the end of the month, we started our pre-launch, which is actually this week for you and I, and the Bestseller Secrets Summit, where people can register. They can also purchase the premium pass. The summit doesn't start now for another 2.5 days. And
well, by the time they hear this, it'll be starting within a day or so. Yeah, so it'll be coming right up. Yep.
They're coming right up. And so but I had no idea. Like, I didn't know. I thought that was something the cool kids did. So I was doing it. And to me, like, I was helping people launch books. I had launched at that point probably about 15 books myself, my own books. But the royalties weren't there. This was this pipe dream that everybody thinks you're going to get rich off royalties. You're not. It's just, the book is one piece of your business, online business puzzle. And to me, I thought the summit's the same as a book. It's an authority builder. It's a business card. Maybe I'll make a few friends along the way. Cool. Let's get this done. All the cool kids are doing it. And then we got to figure out a way to make money. Well, what happened was that week before the summit, which is, like right now, we're experiencing it too, is you're getting emails too from, being a speaker, as things happen, sales started coming in. And I was like, well, wait a second. How can this even be, we made, we're all of a sudden, I thought, if I make $500 off this summit, I'll be peachy happy because I'll have some money to buy groceries, all that kind of stuff. Well, at the end of day one, that very first summit, we had surpassed $1,000, and that was day one. That was a week before the summit started. I said, oh my gosh. Wait. This is not what I thought. And I went back and did that. And I was a math major in college, so this is embarrassing. But I went back and said, wait a second, what's going on here? And we were selling premium passes for a discount at $67, exactly how we're doing it with this summit. And I went back and said, yeah, you can't make much money selling those things. I got to sell some high ticket things, which was most of my business prior. 150 premium pass sales at $67 is over 10K. So I went back and said, oh my gosh, that's pretty pronounced, especially when you've got other speakers acting as your marketing, and it's no cost. And so things started working out pretty well then. And multiple beautiful things happened. So one, I was making income even before the summit started, unexpectedly. And two, the people that I spoke to on the summit, and this is a perfect example. You and I talking on this podcast, we weren't connected before this, but because we're on the same summit together, I'm co-hosting with Derek, there's the connection there. And, there's plenty of things within 5 minutes I know that we could do together to, help each other's businesses. So that happens. And that's something that, if you try to do that organically, with just like a book or just, you're on your own, you got maybe one little course, or you've got your podcast. It's, podcast is a little different. Podcast is more like summits, but the idea is you can accelerate all these JV partner relationships, all these business relationships where you cross promote each other's stuff, and you do it massively. Because let's say you do that first summit I had 30 interviews, and so all of a sudden I had 29, 30 new best friends, I should say, about 3 or 4 people I knew in the beginning. Well, I went back. So anyway, the summit, that first summit, I ended up, and everybody's situation is different. Your mileage will vary, but I did $12,126 in sales. And I was like, whoa, this is what I thought books would do for me when I was starting. And that's kind of why I got into book launching and helping people. And I said, this is the thing, you know, a book obviously plays this important role, get connection with people, but this summit, I can actually make money. I can build partnerships. I built an email list. I added 8,000 emails to my list within the first 2 summits.
Amazing. Yeah.
And the second summit was a second edition of the first summit where I added 15 more speakers and got it up to 45, which I wouldn't recommend that. That's too many. But so, you know, I built an email. I'm like, wait a second. I built an email list. I've made all these partnerships that and I went back and tracked them, these partnerships I made over that first year. It's pretty incredible. And I made sales. And then something else happened. I was getting all these emails. People like, thank you so much. This was great information. Thank you so much. And so the day the summer was over, we'd done 12,126. About, I'd say 4,000 of that was, you know, due in commissions to the affiliates. So, but it was still an amazing accomplishment. And I thought, this is really cool. I woke up that next morning. I said, you know, I just kind of feel like my authority has gone up. And I call it peak authority now because I know better. But at the time, I'm like, I think I should offer something else. I don't know what, but I think I should. Well, I had just made an offer for $1,000 product 45 days earlier. And I said, how can I even offer that again? I just offered it. And, you know, my list has already seen it per se. So I said, but you know what? I've got the emails. And it was an email to a sales page offer, nothing else involved, for $1,000. I sold 19 of them in 5 days after that first summit.
Beautiful.
So now, you know, it's like, I could walk into the kitchen and, you know, this from the, this is a screw the commute thing. It's like, I walk in the kitchen with this goofy grin on my face. My wife like saying, do you make another sale? I'm like, yeah. Make these $1,000 sales are coming in so that 3-week period,
So
2 weeks.
She decided to stay then, right? Huh?
Yeah, that's right. She's like, okay, as long as you have that goofy grin on when you come in here, I'll stay one more day. But so so 2 weeks of summit time, 1 week of this $1,000 promotion, and that's $31,000, $126, something like that. And I looked back and said, you know, this is crazy because it wasn't all new people on my list either from the summit that bought that. There were other people that were already on my list that saw me hosting that summit, saw me speaking to these, you know, big names like you, that now they're like, wow, Ray's more legit than I thought. You know, I've just been on his list and, you know, he's okay. But then they saw me interview all these people and that changed in their mind, their opinion of me. So I had never experienced a 3-week period, especially if you could argue a kind of I'd done some high ticket sales where I had to do a lot of work. This was a $31,000 payday for, you know, the fulfillment was already done. So, then I got into it. One of my speakers came to me and said, yeah, your summit looks so good. And I just did mine a couple months ago. Can you rerun mine with your template and build it out for me? And I said, sure. And we worked out a deal. And then the next thing I know, he says, okay, you and I are partnering and selling done for you summits. So we went on and did that, you know, started a done for you summit company. And that's kind of how it all started. But I went back and tracked, he was one of my number 1 affiliates and the other top 4. And the gross revenue we generated, whether I promoted their webinars, they promoted mine, over the next year from that very first summit was we did 56,000 places 2 through 4 to 56, and I did over 150 with the top guy. So in all, it was some $243,000 that it generated just from sticking it out and doing that first summit. And I said, oh, this is nuts. I can help. And I was in the role, my list was all authors. I was in the role of helping authors, perform better and get past this. Oh, I failed because I'm getting $20 a month in royalties. Not true. That's pretty much what everybody's getting. And in fact, the theme of my summit was called Book Profit School. And my goal in every interview was to figure out, hey, how are you making money on the back end? Because I saw these people that were high profile and their books were ranked below mine. And I knew how much money my books are making. And it wasn't much. And I'm like, their books are making less than mine. So how are they doing this? And every interview became about, started sharing the same ideas. You got to build an email list. You've got to connect with influencers. You've got to create sources of income. And it just kept repeating itself, yet they were from all different places. So I interviewed Stu McLaren from, he's from the membership world, Danny Inney from the courses world, and Nick Stevenson, Derek Defker is, of course, one of my first interviews. And Derek, we're co-hosting a summit today. This is how powerful a summit can be. I tell this story often. It's been a few years now, but I remember vividly that I was about to press the button to try to friend him on Facebook when I was starting out, and I chickened out and waited 24 hours. Just a friend, because I'm like, what if he doesn't accept it or ignores it? And and now it's like, why wouldn't he take, and now we're co-hosting a summit together because I took that initiative. But you can really accelerate that. You can accelerate friendships. It's like you and I just chatted a bit before this podcast. We'll probably chat afterwards. We may come up with some ideas. I've like come up with product ideas live on interviews during exactly. Because it's such a great way to build friendships with like-minded people. And so for me, I saw that as, okay, but it is a little difficult to do. Can I help people do that? And so now it's moved to the point where, I've got a course. And I'm constantly testing. So 2 months ago, I co-hosted my first co-host summit. So I'm doing some of these partnerships, and I shouldn't say that's the first one because I've done one for a couple of years with Paul Brody. But anyway, I've got co-hosts. I've got done for you clients. Some clients can take it and run just from taking our course or even just reading a book about it. So it's been very, very exciting for me. And so we're constantly, I've got a full fall schedule of summits. A lot of them I'm co-hosting. Some are, I'm just producing for clients. And, we're constantly tweaking things to try to make them better.
Let's get into some of the details of this one. And I mentioned to you, maybe it was before we started, that, I kind of avoided them for years. I mean, I got 10 of them a week. People were begging me to come on. And the way many of them were run was that, they came after me because I had a big email list. And then I ethically actually promoted the thing. But then all the other speakers were like, oh man, we can just suck off of the other guy's list and we won't really promote. And I had really a super big name guy, say, I'll promote. Yeah, I'll do it. And then he promoted to like 1/100th of his list and said, well, I did promote it, but I could only promote it to this little thing. So I was asking Derek about that because, you got to be careful who you put on these because they'll just suck rather than contribute.
Yeah. Yep.
That's
true. And I'll tell you, I mean, I've never had 100% performance.
Yeah.
I mean, there's always somebody, whether they forget or they just ghost you. But to me, but I am super conscious of that. Like, I don't invite anybody back if they're not going to,
of course,
help out. And it's okay if something came up or you told me ahead of time, hey, Ray, I've got this other thing going right then. I'm like, well, I still want the content, but if it's kind of like, there's interaction and then you disappear,
that's
you
just
ghost me, then it's like, well, okay.
All right. Now, the other thing that the reason I put an email out today said this is the best summit I've ever been part of. And for one very specific reason, all of them had good content and good people and so forth, but you had to get up early and sit there all day, like 3 or 4 days in a row. And who's got that kind of time? Right? So you have yours structured a different way. Tell them about it.
Well, for one, we want a global audience, right? So we get somebody in Australia shouldn't have to get up at 2 a.m. to watch these live streams or whatever they are. What we do is we release that day's video on demand. And you go and you pick. And the other thing is, if you've been in a live event, it's like, okay, what should I do for these 2 other sessions until I get to the one I want?
Yeah,
exactly. I can go have lunch, or I can go sit there and listen, or I can go chat in the back and annoy people, whatever. And so here it is, like you can watch them in the order you want. So basically, we release them on demand. that day's page shows up. It's available for 48 hours. You can watch them whatever order you want, any time of day you want for those 48 hours. And, so everybody around the world's got 48 hours to watch them. It's not only 12 hours or, during the middle of the night for the other side of the world.
Yeah. So that's the first one I've been on like that. And that's just awesome. And then the other thing I was wondering about is I think I got a lot of stuff going, Ray. So I haven't paid 100% attention to this thing, but I thought I saw where a speaker can give a digital bonus and it would be delivered automatically. Is that true?
Yeah. So in this case, it's really easy we're using ThriveCart as the affiliate platform, and there's basically just a pull down menu in when you log into your affiliate console, and it just says you want to add a bonus to people who buy through your link. And then you can either put a link to whatever that bonus is in there. ThriveCart will deliver it to them. So they buy through your, if they buy through your affiliate link, it also gives them an email with that whatever pieces, which is why for a few years now, I've been adding my courses. ThriveCart now has a course platform since about a year ago. And I've been adding my courses there so that I can just quickly, because then if they're on the ThriveCart platform, I can also just connect to a course and say, hey, if you buy through mine, you're also going to get this other course of mine that I got out there.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah. So you just make it as automated as possible, because I'll tell you, I mean, as you know, one of the things is like, we've pulled back. We used to send you this 10-page document. Here's your instructions for the affiliates. And it's like, oh my God.
Yeah. Like I said, I barely could pay attention to it with the brief version.
Right. That should be cut down to, I mean, really it should be. And I've made notes of this is, hey, here's there's a section that has bullet points. Here's some of the ideas you're going to learn, some of the bullet points about the talks. And here's a list of other people on it. That's all I should probably put out there. Let everybody craft their own emails. But some people like to just get a shell going. But the idea is, I don't want to be giving these new friends of mine, these speakers, that are going to promote homework. It's just like, I want this to be as easy as possible. And so we're always kind of trying to think through how we do that. And
I jumped to the swipe thing and then in 2 seconds I said, I'm just gonna write my own. I did.
Yeah.
I might have I think I wrote 4 lines and I go to this link.
Well, your 4 lines were effective.
Yeah.
Because you came out of nowhere into the standings.
Right. I was telling,
like the OG you are.
I was telling Ray, because he doesn't really know me, but I laughed when I saw the leaderboard, because he says, Tom Antion came out of nowhere. Yeah. Only 28 and a half years working on this stuff. I could have quit 20 years ago, right? I'm just crazy fanatic.
But your first email had, you jumped right up to the top of the leaderboard. And that's the beautiful thing. And so
that's email. That's email. That's why when I went and researched you a little bit, I saw all these books. I say, well, I have 25 books, but nobody hardly knows about them except the people on my email list, and they buy them like crazy. So I get a little bit lazy, but you have a prolific catalog of books that you've written, and they're up there. But sometimes I just don't even get around. I just put an email out and people buy them.
Well, I'll tell you what, that's a great point. And that's why building an email list and you build your authority on the platform like this, or, on a summit, I can sell books easy after a summit. We do these anthology books. So people will pay to write a chapter. We make sure it's a bestseller on Amazon, all that, fancy stuff. Now I put one out. We launched one in July, Coaching Inc. And I was getting the promotions and the advertising all together, and I'm like getting ready to send them all off. And I go to check to get the link from the book, and I'm like, what? It's already a bestseller. And I'm like, shit, I'm still gonna pay for this stuff, I guess, but I don't even need to do the work, because it just starts catching on with everybody. And in fact, I don't even know that I had sent an email about it yet, but that day I sent an email and said, this is crazy.
All right,
I just sent an email to my list.
Yeah, that's the way it works. That's why
Yeah.
even social media, I don't look like I'm very substantial at all on social media, but I lived through MySpace, where it was the biggest, biggest, baddest thing, and
Hmm.
then disappeared off the face of the earth. So my whole career has been get them the heck off of whatever platform that doesn't belong to you, and get them onto an email list that does belong to you. That's another way I've just churned that out over year after year after year.
If everybody on this podcast listened to one thing in all of your episodes, that is it. Is
Exactly.
get the people to your world to where you control access to, and that really, to me, all these summits I'm doing, it's worth it. If it's just if all I got was the emails,
Yes,
that is worth it to me.
exactly. All right. Well, we got to take a brief sponsor break, Ray, and when we come back, we'll see how to get a hold of Ray, and we'll hear a little bit more about this summit that's coming up. But if you're ready to sign up, folks, I will tell you. Like I said, people know that I don't hype stuff up, overly hype stuff up. This is the best one I have ever been on and participated in, and when I participate, I just do my thing, and that's the end of it. But from the audience point of view, this is what I'm so excited about, that you do not have to sit there day and night, and you don't have to miss it if you're in another country. It's beautiful. So go get your free ticket at screwthecommute.com/bestseller secrets summit. screwthecommute.com/bestseller secrets summit. And you can sign up right away, and you'll start getting info from Ray and Derek. Derek Depker was the one that's partnering with Ray on this. And when you see the lineup of people and the topics covered, oh my God, I mean, it's really, really powerful. And then, hey, while we're at it, if most of you on the line know about my mentorship program. It's the longest running, most successful, most unique ever in the field of internet and digital marketing. Been running since 1997 or so. Also have the longest running, continuously running internet and digital marketing seminar ever. Ray probably doesn't know about that either, called Butt Camp. And that's the actual name. It's not a misspelling. It's Butt Camp because I sit on my rear end to make all this money. So I didn't want to do a boot camp Ray, because I have a comic background. So people were begging me to teach this stuff. And I said, I can't call it a boot camp. Everybody calls it a boot camp. And that's when I came up with Butt Camp. And I've done them in 11 countries around the world. But in England, Ray, they made me call it bum camp instead of butt camps. So folks, check it out at greatinternetmarketingtraining.com. It's one-on-one with me and my entire staff. You have a visit to the Great Internet Marketing Retreat Center in Virginia Beach. We have our TV studio here where we shoot videos for you. I mean, it's got massive things. And then the way we charge for it is different than kind of made all the other gurus mad, in that they wanted 50 or 100 grand up front, where I charge an entry fee and then I tie my success to your success. So for me to get my 50 grand, you have to net 200 grand. And guess what? 1,700 students later, people like that idea. So check it out at greatinternetmarketingtraining.com. And also write down your ticket for the summit at screwthecommute.com/bestseller secrets summit. And that'll be in the show notes. All right, back to the main event. We got Ray Brehm here. Ray is the kind of the brains behind this summit methodology. So what kind of technology you got to have to run one of these things, Ray?
Well, that's the beauty of it, is it can fit any budget. Mm-hmm. So for instance, we're giving access to the videos, day one for 48 hours, so Monday, that would end Wednesday morning, Tuesday, Thursday morning, so forth. I use Kartra. We're using ThriveCard for the affiliates, but you could put the videos, on Vimeo or Dropbox and just turn them on and off access, after 48 hours. If you wanted to do it manually, wouldn't cost you a thing.
Yeah, Amazon
you could
S3 is cheap too.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, if you probably already got a platform where you can host them, and you can do that. You can send emails to people that come in. Obviously, the better job you do making it look professional, that's going to help you attract the speakers you want.
Yeah. Did you make your sales page? Did you make your sales
Yes.
page yourself? Yeah. Yeah. That looked very nice. I'm sure it's converting well.
And it's, we tweak it every time, but we use a kind of a common core template, and then we put the new art and colors and copy and everything. So it's just, but the format, has worked well. And, one of the things we do is when you register, we give you a significant discount. So the premium pass, like in this case of this summit, if you want to keep all the videos, it's $97. But when you register, we'll say, hey, it's $67 for the next 15 minutes if you want it. And by the way, you could turn it back in and get your money back in 30 days. So, it's really low risk. Well, we 95 to 98% of the people grab it in the first 15 minutes.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, it's $1 million worth of training. Easy. I mean, it's just crazy deal. Yeah. And you won't be able to absorb 4 or 5 days of
Right.
4 or 5 speakers a day, and you'll want to refer back to these things. So I highly suggest you upgrade to that for $67. My God, you can't talk to me for 5 minutes for $67. So do it. So how do people work with you?
Yeah, so I've got a site called the Summit Guy, and if you're interested in summits, you can get I've got a free book on there called Virtual Summits Made Easy. I've got a course actually called Virtual Summits for Authors, although that really applies to any entrepreneurs. Both of those are free. You can get them on my
thesummitguy.com.
That's right.
Thesummitguy.com. Okay.
Yes. Yep. And that's a great place to start. And really, when you look at it now, as you recall from my story, I couldn't believe it. I did $19,000 in sales of what I would call now a core offer after the summits. And when we, both of those, the book, the free course on there, we talk about that. It's like before you even begin their summit, we want to know what happens the week after the summit, so starting with the end in mind, and then we build backwards. So if you want to sell your underwater basket weaving course, after the summit, then you step back and say, well, you're not necessarily going to do a summit on underwater basket weaving, but you might do a summit on, alternative. I'll give you a better example. If I'm a yoga coach and I've got a yoga class, and I might go back, I don't need to do a summit on yoga and get all yoga instructors. They're not going to want to share their, the summit because they want to lose their clients or whatever. But I can do kind of a healthy mind, healthy body summit, and I can bring in meditation experts and visualization experts, all these people that have the same audiences that would be interested in my yoga class after the fact. And so that's how we backtrack and build summits. And in this case, our summits highly targeted towards authors and or aspiring authors and digital entrepreneurs. And the funny thing is, when I did that first summit, it was called Book Profit School. I thought, well, I'm only going to get people who've actually published a book, launched it, and realized their royalties aren't going to make them independently wealthy and financially secure. That wasn't the case. 85% of the people who registered and even bought premium passes, they hadn't even written their book yet, but they wanted to know the end game. And so, we make it appealing to them. And, what's great about this is we talk about all the different ways to get, in your case, podcasting. How do you, not only how you get bestseller, how you run ads, but how do you make good videos? How do you, make your book good? There's just such a variety of
there's so much planning involved. I was the headliner at Author 101, and then after that was after the Mark Victor Hansen mega seminars, and all the time the speakers would say, yeah, I'm going to start marketing after I write my book. And I'm like, no, you are making a big mistake. You should market it a year before you write the book.
Right.
Have people begging for it when the book comes out. So anyway, there's tons of stuff you can see over there at the site, folks. screwthecommute.com/bestseller secrets summit. All right, Ray. Well, thanks so much for coming on. And so the summitguy.com is the best way to get in touch with you.
Yep. And you can go there and simply jump on my Virtual Summit Secrets newsletter, which is basically my daily email. You'll get on that even if you download the book or the course. And, and then from there, you can always hit reply to an email and chat with me. I'm trying to get through all the replies we're getting from the summit before this podcast after this podcast and in between, because we got a lot of good people just replying and super excited.
Yeah, I know you're busy. So, and folks, just keep in mind, you do not have to already be a superstar to do this. If you're just beginning, you can put together a bunch of superstars, and then you're rubbing elbows with the superstars. So you could be at all levels and put one of these together. So Ray, thanks so much for coming on, man.
Tom, I really appreciate it. It's been fun. And you are the OG, man.
I'm the OG. All right, folks, we'll catch you all in the next episode, and I will see you at the Bestseller Secrets Summit. Catch you later.